If there is something that the Pokemon series is known for, it's the Pokemon and their battles. But there's a question. What if I can have the best of both worlds? That's where I mentioned Pokemon Battle Revolution, a 4th generation spin-off that is all about its battling. While this game's title would suggest it's a standalone experience, it plays more like a spiritual successor to both Pokemon Stadium games. But that's the issue, because people just really enjoy writing this game off because it didn't have the mini-games from the Stadium games. But that's where we come in today. Give a proper critical analysis of Pokemon Battle Revolution to see if it was perhaps a missed gem. But with that in mind, your timestamps are on screen, and now let's begin. Now, since this game decided to shed that husk of a shell that Pokemon storylines tend to be, there's not even a story to speak about. So as such, we'll just go straight towards the gameplay and progression. So discussing the game's progression first, as the game has no story, they had to provide some kind of funnel for you to progress through it. And as such, the game will point you at this new island called Poketopia. And you'll be directed with beating all 10, but technically 9, of the Colosseums as they open up, until you've beaten them all. But that's the main playthrough. You conquer everything and become the greatest of all time. Wow, that's just like every Pokemon game. But of course, there's post-game stuff as well. 4 of the Colosseums that you visited previously throughout the main playthrough have different game types. So let's speak on that now, both the main playthrough and the post-game alike. So for the basic building blocks of the game, you have Generation 4's battle mechanics, as well as the single and double battles, and that's all there really is to build from. So up first in terms of gameplay is the knockout battle. This rule set is basically a copy of the battle tower, but not as cringeworthy or purposeless. This is the game type for the following Colosseums, being Main Street, Sunny Park, Courtyard, and Stargazer, kind of. The last 3 mentioned only during the main playthrough. Next up is the rental battle. Home at Gateway Coliseum, and is the only Coliseum not required to beat during the main playthrough. This game type restricts you to exclusively rental passes, which also functions like the battle tower. The rental pass thing I'll discuss later. But just know, this means you cannot use your DS Pokemon from your Generation 4 DS games, while simultaneously allowing you to unlock extra rental passes apart from the single one that you begin the game with. Following up from that is the post-game rule set for Gateway Coliseum, this being the trade battle. So once again, the rental battle's rules also apply, but this time, after every battle, you can trade one of the Pokemon you used during your last battle with the opponent. You get to keep your newly acquired Pokemon if you somehow succeed in your run. Trust me on this. Best part of the whole game, easily the biggest time sink the game has to offer. The next rule set to speak on is the team battle. This rule set, belonging to Waterfall Coliseum, involves you choosing 5 teams of 1 Pokemon per single battle, or 3 teams of 2 Pokemon in doubles, and having to battle the opponent doing the same. This all around is a fun idea, but the playtime here just feels a little inflated, as well as the higher ranks being extremely problematic, but more on that soon. Next up is the Fortune battle at Neon Coliseum. Now this experience is great. Both you and your opponent have all of your Pokemon put on a spinning wheel. Your team is decided by what you land on. Good luck with this one. Nothing more problematic than your opponent getting your above average Pokemon and or legendaries. Crystal Coliseum is next, and the home of the tournament battle. While it looks cool and flashy with its bracket format, it's basically the knockout battle, but also shorter. In terms of post-game rule sets is Little Cup, the post-game playstyle of Sunny Park Coliseum. This one is only playable via your DS Pokemon. You will need a team of Pokemon that are level 5 or lower that are also unevolved but have the potential to evolve. There's just nothing more satisfying than watching Scyther body basically everything. Next up is the select battle from Sunset Coliseum. Here, you don't use any of your Pokemon, while you and your opponent have to choose from a pool of 12 Pokemon and battling with those Pokemon. Easily the biggest pace breaker the game has to offer, as you're using completely different Pokemon who are capable of some easy speed ties, since you and your opponent can choose the same Pokemon, which adds some more RNG to the mix. Magma Coliseum hosts the last new game type from the main playthrough. This is the League battle. Here, you battle other trainers, but you can still lose and be able to move on, as you are graded on your performance rather than just winning. Performance scores are based on your Pokemon that don't faint during your run. To battle the final trainer, you must have the best performance in the group. Nearing the end here, we have Courtyard Coliseum. First off, why does this place sometimes have the fog weather in play? Like, I get it, thematically it fits, but feeling like you need a Pokemon with Sandstream, Snow Warning, or Cloud9 really makes the team building here a little more problematic, so you don't make the game completely unbearable, because because yeah, they unnecessarily brought back the worst mechanic Diamond and Pearl had to offer. But the special post-game rule set here is the survival battle. This is a 100 battle gauntlet, pretty self-explanatory. If you fail, you fail. But as you go on, your opponents will use more Pokemon from their teams, while as well having higher quality Pokemon to choose from. But again, the fog here makes using Kyogre or Groudon feel mandatory, that paired with the fact that your team doesn't get auto-healed after every battle, and instead you have to gamble for healing on a wheel, which again adds to the chaos and makes the experience significantly better. And last up is the Masters Battle at Stargazer Coliseum via the post-game content. There are 8 different sets of 4 battles here. Each will test many skills or knowledge of the game. Many of these battles will use doubles gimmicks, such as setting weather, using Trick Room, use some kind of strategy like Disable and Encore, or other fun shenanigans like Skill Swap, Tailwind, or even the dreaded Stall. The difficulty spike here is pretty massive. Beating these without your DS Pokemon is difficult to say the least, not to mention the fact that you are forced into double battles. But that reminds me, most of the Coliseums have extra adjustments that can be made, like being able to choose between single and double battles, as well as 2 different level adjustments. One that sets every Pokemon to level 50, and another that'll push all Pokemon below level 30 to 30, but your opponent's Pokemon levels are equal to your highest level Pokemon. Obviously, the second rule set listed is the worst of the 2, but is the one that you have to play with throughout the main playthrough. A new addition, which wouldn't be used in the mainline games until Black and White via battling with friends, is Team Preview. Before every battle, both trainers will be able to see the Pokemon on both teams alongside their levels, or if a specific Pokemon is carrying an item, which is incredibly useful for planning out a battle. But while on the topic of the main playthrough, the game allows you to earn a perfect point. This gives you a retry on a battle if you lost it. These can be earned by winning a battle while having 0 Pokemon faint on your team. And finally, for difficulty in most of the Coliseums, there is a rank system. This caps at 8 and is basically a difficulty modifier. It'll drop by 1 if you lose the whole run at a Coliseum twice. But pro tip, just by resetting the game, you can avoid the rank drop. But as your rank increases, so will the quality of the Pokemon on trainers' teams, making all the teams significantly harder. Lower numbers have some weak stuff like Kecleon, Ledian, and other lower powered Pokemon like Primflop or Girafarig, while rank 8 will host behemoths such as Salamence, Infernape, and many other competitively viable Pokemon. But with that said, that's the main playthrough and post-game content in a nutshell. Battle harder, become the greatest of all time, overcome and destroy all challenge known to man. So now let's move on to basically everything else. Let's begin by finishing off the rest of the battle-related content. So, the game offers quite a few ways in which you can battle your friends. So for starters, from the main menu, there's an entire menu that'll allow both trainers to battle one another via their DS systems, of course using them as controllers, while the game itself is being used as a projector where the battles take place, which for the time was pretty cool, but potentially inefficient, especially considering 2 players can just battle each other from the battle menu alone, which yes, is also an option. And finally, for the battle related stuff is online play. Yes, the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection that barely functioned and made the experience miserable. Listen, this was never the game's issue, it was the Wii's. Not a single person enjoyed the slideshows the Wii had to offer. Moving off of battles, let's discuss the teams that you have. So the battle passes. These make up your teams of Pokemon. The thing is, there's 3 different types of these. First up is the rental pass, as mentioned earlier. These passes are pre-constructed and are completely playable without you playing the DS games. While these teams are fairly weak, 5 of the 6 rental passes have to be unlocked at Gateway Coliseum, so at least there's some kind of unlock progression going on here. But of course, it is completely possible to do the main playthrough with these passes alone. And of course, with the trade battle existing, you can get some great replacements for the Pokemon on these passes. No legendaries, but still some really good stuff. And again, this is post-game only. Next up is the custom pass. So there's a menu that'll copy your Generation 4 DS Pokemon game save data to the game, and then using those Pokemon, you can build a custom pass. And unlike the rental passes, your team doesn't have to be a total of 6 Pokemon. But of course, since you get to choose the Pokemon with their movesets, items, and stat distribution, these teams can easily be the best or the worst teams that you can ever have in the game. And lastly is the friend passes. While these are typically unavailable during the main playthrough, these passes you can get via playing online with people through the Wi-Fi, or by saving them to and from a Wii remote. Yeah, you remember that feature? Why can't Joy-Cons do such cool things like save data to them? Regardless, the friend passes cannot be customized, as they are, well, someone else's, and serve as an easy way to battle your friends. Regardless, the rental passes and the custom passes can be customized quite a bit. From the team order to stuff like the pass backgrounds, which you have to unlock, to default or custom trainer dialogue. Yes, you can put your own messages there. There's also titles, which you get based off of your team composition and or just unlocked by playing the game. And finally, your own customizable trainer. Here you have 6 trainer types, 3 skin tones, and outfit customization that makes half of the mainline games with the feature look bad in comparison. While on that train of thought, most of the outfits are locked to the shop, which I'll touch on in a few seconds. But you're even capable of unlocking the outfits used by some of the Coliseum leaders upon doing their level 50 all rule set once in each of the given Coliseums of said leader. Which, fun fact, did you know that these outfits specifically have a very minimalistic chance to be shiny? And sadly, it seems we're at the last feature being the shop. So throughout playing the core game, you will earn some currency. This you can use in the shop to buy new pieces of outfit customization, as well as items and even a few gift Pokemon that can be sent to your Generation 4 DS games via the mystery gift. But as a spin-off game, that's basically all there is to it. But before I wrap up this game, we need to look at the graphics and the soundtrack. First up is the soundtrack. While short, it's solid. More in favor of the battle music over the rest of the soundtrack, but it's still nice. But the graphics, which for the time were pretty solid, and even now, the scenery still looks better than some of the 3DS games. However, the Pokemon sprites are interesting and extremely inconsistent, as the Generation 1 Pokemon especially do not look too great. Examples like Venusaur, Exeggutor, Slowbro, and even the shiny variant of Alakazam. Meanwhile, the Generation 4 Pokemon look fantastic even now. The animations themselves look significantly better than every game in the mainline series. Other than the attack animations and the Pokemon themselves crossing the entire battlefield just for a single attack, which makes the gameplay presentation feel more complete, as well as the synchronization of the attacks with their animations. Something the modern mainline series Pokemon games seem to be lacking. But that's all for real this time, so let's just finish this game off. Pokemon Battle Revolution is great at what it does, and that is battling. The content that the game has is good. However, the issue is, the content isn't that vast, with only 10 main gameplay types that are all limited to play against CPUs, which allows the game to feel a little limited at times. But the game succeeds at being a good Pokemon battling game. Sure, it may not have the mini-games from Pokemon Stadium, but if the game wanted mini-games, they would have just called the game Pokemon Stadium 3. But that isn't the game they were making. But I digress. Closing this out, if you enjoy the core Pokemon battling system, then this is a game for you. However, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for today. There is no final score to be had this time. And with that being said, I hope you have an excellent day.